Okay, let's dive right in. We need to talk about this giant, hidden time waster that I see slowing down so many teams. It's all that prep work, all the stuff that has to happen before the work can even start. And believe me, it can delay your projects for weeks before a developer even writes a single line of code.
Oof, does that hit a little too close to home? You know that feeling, right? It's day one of the sprint, you're supposed to be hitting the ground running, but you're already behind because the so-called ready work just isn't. It's such a huge source of friction, and we're going to figure out exactly why that is.
So what does this actually look like day to day? Well, it's those refinement meetings that just drag on, feeling like you're going in circles. It's looking at your board and seeing that needs refinement column just getting longer and longer. And maybe the worst part? It's that feeling of frustration when developers are fired up and ready to go, but they're just stuck, waiting for a story to get through some bureaucratic maze.
And look, these aren't just small annoyances. These are serious, painful symptoms of a much bigger problem. When your sprints are constantly delayed, when your developers are sitting around waiting for work, when everyone is just drained from meeting fatigue, it all points back to a broken idea of what ready is supposed to mean.
So how in the world do we end up here? You know, it almost always starts with good intentions. We build these super detailed, elaborate checklists for our definition of ready because we're trying to crush risk. We're trying to eliminate every last drop of uncertainty. We are chasing perfect certainty. But that chase, it's a total trap. And this is really the heart of the problem. We have this illusion that if we just make our definition of ready checklist perfect and detailed enough, we can prevent all future problems. But the reality is the exact opposite. Trying to answer every single question up front is what creates the bottleneck in the first place. It becomes a source of huge delays and a ton of wasted time. Okay, so if these massive checklists are the problem, what's the solution? Let's talk about a much simpler, way more powerful, and frankly, a much more agile way of thinking about what it actually means for work to be ready. This right here is the fundamental shift in mindset. Ready is not a bureaucratic gate you have to pass through. It's a signal. It is a team's shared understanding that an item is valuable, it's feasible, and it's actionable right now. It's all about creating alignment, not just checking off a bunch of boxes.
And the potential here is absolutely massive. Seriously, the goal shouldn't be to just make a tiny improvement. The goal is to cut your prep work in half. Just stop and think for a second. What could your team do with all of that extra time? This isn't a fantasy. It's a totally achievable target if you just simplify your approach.
All right, so how do we actually do this? How do we get from this bloated, bureaucratic checklist to this new, streamlined reality? Let's walk through the exact steps your team can take to get on the path to faster sprints, like right away. It's a pretty simple three-step reset. First, just pull up your current definition of ready. Second, go through it line by line, and for every single item, ask the tough question. Does this truly stop us from starting, or is it just something that would be nice to have? And then third, and this is the most critical part, replace that rigid list with a few powerful guiding questions instead.
This table just captures the whole transformation perfectly. You're moving away from a rigid checklist to a dynamic conversation. So instead of a rule that says, designs must be pixel perfect, you just ask a simple question. Do we know enough to begin? This little change empowers your team to use their professional judgment, and it sparks real, meaningful collaboration.
So what's the payoff for doing this? Oh, it's huge! You get team alignment so much faster because you're focused on shared understanding, not just rules. You basically eliminate developer wait times. You actually start building on day one of your sprint. And the big one? Your team gets to spend way more of its precious time actually building awesome stuff, instead of just sitting in planning meetings. So, I'm going to leave you with this question. Just really think about it. If you could get rid of all that pre-sprint churn and get weeks of productive time back every single quarter, what new features could you ship? What cool innovations could you explore? The potential is just enormous.
If you're ready to stop wasting all that time and actually make this change, we can definitely help. Check our links below for our free Agile booklet or schedule your one-on-one coaching session now.